So we need to talk about it. I destroyed my Avata 2. So back when I initially got my Avata 2, I actually got it on launch day, the day it came out, put in my order. I was pretty nervous about crashing. I was afraid I would break it. And the first time I actually crashed, I was really afraid that I had totaled the drone. But I went out there, picked it up, dusted it off, wiped the mud off, and it still worked fine. There was nothing broken, no real problems with it. And then, predictably, as you do when you're learning to fly manual FPV, I crashed again, and again it was fine. And after a while, I got so used to crashing that I wasn't really worried about the drone whenever I crashed. I must have crashed it dozens and dozens of times in the process of learning how to fly and trying to pull off shots going through tight spaces, and every time the drone came out just fine. It's actually really impressive just how tough the Avata 2 is. It can really take a beating, especially if you're coming from DJI's camera drones. This is nothing like the camera drones. It can take a lot of crashes. And that is a really good thing, because if you haven't flown FPV before, if you're just learning how to fly in manual mode especially, you are going to crash a lot. So good job to DJI of making a tough little drone. But unfortunately, that could only last so long. When I was out in Idaho, I did crash a bunch of times without any issues besides breaking some props. But on the last day, on the way to the airport, I was trying to get some shots front flipping over myself on the edge of the cliff, which wasn't quite a cliff. It kind of had some rocks kind of going down at an angle. So on one of those flips, I didn't pull out of it quickly enough and ended up just clipping the rocks a little bit, and I thought I had lost control of my drone. So I went to cut the motors, but I didn't realize that it had already started going back up. So when I cut the motors, I was probably 30+ feet off the ground. So it just free-falled that whole distance right onto the rocks. It was steep enough rocks that I had a hard time even getting down there to get it. And it actually survived the crash pretty well, just lost an ND filter. But it did cause some micro cracks on the back arms that hold the motors. But nonetheless, the drone still flew fine, and I even got some more cool shots hitting some super tight gaps on the way towards the airport. And I just figured, well, it's working fine, so I might as well just keep on flying it until something breaks more seriously. Which is exactly what happened about a week ago. And guys, if you want to get great FPV shots with your Avata or a regular camera drone, I've got a couple resources you'll want to check out. First of all, I have a completely free 45-minute drone filmmaking training where I share my top 10 secrets to getting cinematic drone shots. Link to that will be down in the description. And the second thing specifically for the Avata 2 is I have a checklist of all of my best settings to get the most cinematic video out of this drone, and you can get that as well completely for free down in the description. Anyway, back to the drone destruction. So last weekend I was at an event and I was just having some fun ripping around under some ropes that had been put between posts just to mark out where the cars were supposed to be. No cars right in that area, but just having some fun ripping around under those ropes, practicing my skills, getting in those tight turns. And I had done this a couple times without problems. Occasionally I would bump the drone into the ground or into one of the ropes, but that wasn't really a problem. I could just stabilize the drone and keep on flying. And that was fine until it wasn't. One of the times I bumped into the ground and I just totally lost control of the drone. It just started flying backwards. I tried to pitch it forward, but it just wouldn't pitch forward. It flew backwards right into a tree, hit the tree pretty hard. Battery fell out, landed on the ground. Some kids were watching me fly and they actually found where the battery was. And I went over there only to discover that one of the motors was missing. Now, I don't know exactly what caused the motor to fall off, if it fell off when it hit the tree or if it was earlier than that. I kind of think that it was at least disconnected from power when it hit the ground because of the fact that I lost control of the drone and it started flying backwards in spite of my pitch forward commands. I assumed that it just lost this motor, and so no matter what commands I would give it, it had more thrust on the front than the back and just flew backwards into a tree. So yeah, now it is without a motor and also has some other damage. The stress cracks on the arms are cracked quite a bit more than they were before. It actually didn't break where those stress fractures were. It broke right at the motor, not closer to the body. And several of the plastic shields are popped off. The plastic on the top of the drone is kind of a little bit broken, popped, crumpled up. And of course the standard broken props and all that stuff. But even in spite of the pretty brutal beating this drone has taken over all of the crashes, and especially this last one, The whole camera and gimbal system are just fine, no damage to that, which is actually really impressive. I almost always keep a filter on the drone, either an ND filter or one of these little clear UV protective filters that I had on the drone when I crashed it, just to help protect the actual lens of the drone from scratches or damage when it crashes. Anyway, all in all, pretty tough drone, but at some point it can only take so much. So what now? Well, it is headed back to DJI. I got DJI Care Refresh when I got this drone because I knew in the process of learning FPV I was probably going to crash a lot and wanted to be able to get replacements. So with that, I can send it back to DJI and get a newer refurbished one for just 50 bucks. If you ask me, that's a great deal and definitely worth it, especially if you are new to FPV and trying to learn how to fly in manual mode. It's been a great little 4 months with you, little drone. Off to DJI to get a new one.